And let me share the screen as well, if you can see us. Hey, hello everyone. Assalamualaikum everyone. If you can hear us, please let us know. I have closed the music now for all our audience. If you are already joining us, please say hello in the chat box so I know that you are there. So we are waiting for you right now. MK Mohammed, thank you so much for joining. I can see you. So if you are here, if you are watching our live, please send a comment in the comment box and I will acknowledge that I see you. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back to Unboxed with SG. Today's conversation is not about systems, it is about what happens when systems pause, when things stop, and parents are left carrying everything at home. It has happened just very recently, so we want to make sure that the parents get the right kind of support and advice from the experts, from the leaders, from the educational leaders, from the school leaders, from the center leaders. And today we have a school leader sitting with us, ready to help all the parents with tips, tools, and advice that is necessary to handle the students at home, especially when it comes to special needs children. And let's be honest, this is where it actually gets real. Okay. You know me already. My name is Seher Jalani and I run Unboxed with SG as a podcast. Every Tuesday we are live and we bring different topics for you that can help you with your teaching, with your parenting, with your leading of school, whatever your main area or focus is. And today we are talking about special needs children who may be staying at home during current circumstances or under any circumstances. When you have your children at home, what exactly we need to do? How do you keep your children safe, calm, and supported when routine disappears? So I have Jeanette with me. I would like for first of all, welcome Jeanette. And then I would want you to please introduce yourself to all our audience.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on Unboxed. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeanette Buckley. I have been in Bahrain for a number of years, but my career started a long time ago in Taiwan, in Singapore, and then I was lucky enough to land in Bahrain. I have been in education, but in different parts of education, but special ed, special needs, inclusivity, that has been my passion, my love, my desire to make things right and to keep pushing the boundaries of education. I don't think that we've got it right. I think we are far away from it, and I think that it is our duty and our responsibility to our students, to our parents, and to our teachers to keep trying to figure out what works for each child. And that's my passion. So no matter where I am in the world, that's what pushes me. And that comes from my own schooling and my own struggles throughout education and feeling like I was lost until I found out how I learned, which was not like everyone else. And I hope that I can be a champion for not just the child, but for teachers and parents who are trying to figure it out as well, because it really does take everyone who's involved to make a difference. So yeah, I'm the principal of Brightest International School for Special Education. We have a number of children of different profiles. Again, we're a school that's trying to figure it out. We haven't got all the answers, but we are exploring it, and we are trying to work with parents and teachers to do that. And that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Jeanette, and I'm so glad that you're here. Before we move forward, I would like our audience to confirm if we can be heard, if we are audible. Can you please confirm that you can hear us loud and clear? If you can hear Jeanette, if you can hear me, Just say yes in the comment box so we can move forward, because I don't want this to be lost. It's a very important and a very close to heart segment today that we are running. It's for special education, it's for special needs children who are staying at home for whatever situation, whatever reasons. That really is not in focus at the moment. The focus is if they are at home, how exactly we can support them, how exactly we can give guidance to the parents so they can support their children at home. Thank you, RJ, for confirming that you can hear us. Um, Parents need this right now. If parents are watching, if you're watching this as a parent, just type watching so we know that you're watching it. I want you to feel seen before we go any further. The very first segment, Janet, that I want to talk about is the real struggle at home. So let's start with honesty. What I'm hearing from parents right now is not just stress, it is guilt. Sometimes it is confusion. And it is that quiet question of, am I doing enough? Am I doing it right with my child now that the child is at home? And what more can I do? And that hits deeper than people realize. From your perspective, what is the biggest struggle families are facing at home right now?
It's hard to put yourself in someone else's shoes, and everyone's struggle is slightly different. But I think we all in the same boat, in a different stream, different paddles. Everyone's struggling with regulation. And I could imagine that our children are feeling more dysregulated. I think sometimes we assume that the child is fine because they're watching TV, they're watching videos, they're playing games, they're fine, they're oblivious to it. But we also at the same time see other behaviors popping up that they didn't do before. And that comes from inside the body, that dysregulation. So I think that parents might be seeing some different behavior than they saw before, or it might be coming out in different ways. And I think how do you stay calm when your child is dysregulated? How do you stay calm when the world is falling apart around you? I think that must be tough. We all know the theory. We all know, follow a routine, have your boundaries, make sure you're looking after yourself. We all know the basics, but it's the practice that is the struggle. How do you do this consistently? How do you keep calm when the sirens are going off? How do you keep calm for other people? And I think that's the struggle, is the dysregulation of both adult and child. It's a tough one.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And especially if it's the first time the parents are keeping their children at home, that could be something very, very new for them to experience. If they have already gone through that during COVID time, then maybe they are already, prepared, mentally prepared with what can be done. But if it is their very first time and the child is a bit younger, cannot really articulate their needs, then yes, it could be very, very difficult for the parents. That's very important. And honestly, that is exactly what parents are feeling right now. And that is the part nobody usually talks about. Children don't always say, I'm overwhelmed. Special needs kiddos, they don't express themselves through their behavior. They can tell, but they don't really articulate their response. And that's why it is difficult for parents sometimes to understand what exactly can be done for them. Um, and I always say this, behavior is communication. Your child is not being difficult, your child is telling you something. What should parents look for in those moments when there is a meltdown or a tantrum happening at home?
I think it's what to look for is not what the result is. It's not the explosion. It's what's happening beforehand. What's the simmering? What are the other body signs that your child is becoming dysregulated? Once a child is dysregulated, when they've exploded, that's it. there's no talking to them at that time. Nothing is going to help them. What's going to help them is the next time and after the event, how you deal with it. Afterwards, make sure that you're not rising to that meltdown. Make sure that you're not trying to talk the child down during the meltdown. After the meltdown, then make sure that you're on a level and you're really communicating with them. But yeah, it's before the meltdown. Start tracking, start figuring out what's going on in this body. What are you seeing? What kind of movement are you seeing from the child before? What kind of sounds are you hearing from them? And what are the warning signs? Then you can put into place a lot of different calming strategies, calm corners, whatever your child looks for to regulate, then you can put those in place. But once it's happened, you got to wait for it to simmer down.
Absolutely. Now, Jeanette, the question is, if that is happening right now, if this is what a parent is facing right now, a meltdown or a tantrum, and I know you've been very clear about it, that you have to create the environment prior to the, everything has to be done prior to the meltdown or tantrum. But let's suppose that they weren't ready and it just came. Now, what can they do to face it in the most effective manner? Because that's another question that we hear from parents all the time, that when it is happening, what to do at that very moment. What are the tips that you would like to share?
Without judgment, without making it sound really easy, because every situation is different, and every child reacts differently, and every family's beliefs and surroundings are different. So what I'm going to suggest might sound too easy, and it might sound too ridiculous because of your family circumstances. What does the house look like? What does the home look like? Who's staying with you? What expectations are in the home from other people? But when a meltdown happens, you do have to let the meltdown happen. You have to make sure that the environment is safe. So that there aren't a lot of objects around them to throw, that they're not things that are in danger. That provide a safe space. Move things away. Trying to hold and restrain, you know your child. If you are holding, it's for love and comfort, and because your child enjoys being held, not to hold them down, not to restrain. That will escalate if your child wants freedom.
Correct.
They just need that space. So I think often our instant reaction is to try and hold down, to calm immediately, and it's the opposite. It's just making sure that there is a safe space. Shouting, screaming, not going to help. You do the opposite. You go down lower. You have eye contact lower at where they are. You lower your voice. You speak calmly, or you don't say anything at all, and you let the child explode.
Correct.
Again, it's easier to say this than to actually
Exactly.
do it.
I know.
The judgment is away.
And parents will say that you're saying leave your child alone.
Yeah.
But it's not easy.
Tricky.
Yeah.
Not easy. And every child is different. And we do have to try and understand how each child regulates themselves. Their bodies, that regulation is coming from inside. It's from their nervous system. That needs to calm down first. It's not from outside. And everyone regulates differently. Some people, as adults, how do we regulate? How you and I deal with stress and how we calm ourselves down, totally different. So there isn't one way for every single child, but you've got to figure out what your child likes. It might be music, it could be touch, it might just be left alone, it could be coloring. You will know what your child responds to.
Janet, we're taking this forward now with some practical tools that we can share with the parents. I mean, what you just said is obviously a very practical advice, but let's take it a step, ahead. We are talking about now creating calm at home. So let's shift this into something practical. Like, I know it's very easy to say, oh, you should create a calm and safe space for your child at home, but one would question exactly how you want us to do this. So we need to now dive deeper into what can the parents do to create a calm space in their home. If a parent is sitting at home right now overwhelmed, where do they start?
I think clearing space. Sometimes stuff. There's just too much stuff in our apartments. So I would be that would be my first thing, is to clean a corner and make sure that there's just the basics there. Maybe nothing. Maybe just some bean bags. Maybe a little tent. Maybe just some sheets, some comforters, and I wouldn't focus on too much. Less is more. You don't need an occupational therapy gym in your house.
Correct.
There will be loads of suggestions for trampolines, for swings or hammocks, tunnels and things like that. Things that goes in on the child, but it's not necessarily right for every child. Again, I would suggest that you speak to an occupational therapist and they actually recommend what you should have if you're thinking of trampolines. For some children, a trampoline might be calming and regulating, but for another child, it might be actually stimulating. So it's a different recipe for every child. But the basic would be clear an area and put things that the child loves in that corner.
Right.
Things that calm them down. Again, you know your child more than even a professional. What calms them down? Not a screen.
Correct.
That's the one thing I would say.
And that's perfect, because this is actually not achievable, to be honest. Having an apartment that is giving a minimalist look for your child's to become your child's calm space, it's not very achievable targets. For many people actually struggle with it, because we have love of clutter. I have a love of clutter where every corner is cluttered in that organized chaotic space that resonates with all of us. So I think it's not very easy to achieve that, but but especially when you have a child with special needs, you always have to remember that the more you will clutter your space, it will become more difficult for your child to stay calm, because it helps them to calm down when the places or spaces are minimalistically designed. So this is very important. And even if you do have a room for your child, a separate room for your child, or a children's room, do not clutter at least that one. So that can become a very quick safe space or a calm space for the child when the child is overwhelmed. That is helpful. Thank you for sharing that. Let me simplify this even further. What I've seen work is routine over perfection. Not a perfect day, but a predictable day that would minimize the number of um, tantrums or meltdowns. So if you as a parent have a predictable day for your child every day, wake up time, meal time, activity time, calm time, so if your child is aware of that home schedule, I think that would minimize the risk of having a meltdown or a tantrum, which is what Janet was in fact pointing out earlier, that it's the before tantrum or meltdown that you fix, not when it's actually happening. So I'm just making sure that you remember what to do before. So that is the routine that we are talking about here. It doesn't have to look like a school, obviously, but it has to feel safe and predictable. And children regulate through predictability. They are actually happier when they can predict their routines. Would you agree? Yeah, Janet, I was just coming to you for that.
For sure. Your first thing is your routine and your visual schedule. What have you set up in at home? And it's not for us. It's not for the professional who say this is what you need. It's not for even the parent. It's for the child.
Mhm.
They need to know what's happening next. Any meltdown is often because of anxiety of what changed, what's going on, is something different.
True.
And as long as there's that predictability, it helps most children. Most children like
Absolutely.
a routine and they respond well to it. But it has to be consistent. It can't be developed by a behavior therapist or an occupational therapist and not applying to the home.
Correct.
It has to be created by the parents and the caregivers, whoever is in the home.
Mm.
And it has to be realistic and it has to be consistent.
Agreed.
And if the child can be involved in ticking off or folding back that routine, it's even better. They feel a little bit of ownership over their life, and that decreases the anxiety.
Extremely important that you said children should be involved in understanding that routine, but also physically, packing that up or folding that chart so they know that we are done with it. So that's another cue for all the parents that it's achievable, but you just have to be consistent. You can't be changing routines every day, because that's again going to lead your child to um, meltdowns and tantrums that you don't really want. Now, let me quickly acknowledge all our viewers. Thank you so much, Nahida, Rafia, Komal, Mr. You know, Miss Meet Aman, RJ Educational. Thank you so much for being here. And I know you commented, that's why I'm able to see you. But all of those who are listening but didn't comment, thank you so much for joining us today. We are at a stage at the moment where you can actually ask questions. So if you do have a question, and if you are a parent or a teacher who's trying to help a parent dealing with a special needs child at home, please feel free to start posting your questions and your comments, and I would take those questions to Janet so she can answer. She's the expert on our podcast today, and I would love for her to help parents. So please do write your questions as we are moving on to our third segment. But before I do that, here is something else parents need to hear. Lower your expectations, please, when you are dealing with special needs children at home. Please lower your expectations. Not the care, but the expectations. You're not replacing a system, you're creating stability. If you are at home right now trying to do everything because, well, you don't need everything, you need consistency. As Janet mentioned, and as I'm repeating again, the routine and consistency is the key for you to deal with this situation. Try and create a simple routine today, then come back and write done, or ask your child to say done, or fold that card so they can understand that it's actually done. So I want to see those actions taking place at home, because that's going to be your way out from that overwhelming situation that you might be facing. So, the last segment that we are talking about is emotional safety and regulation. That's a deeper layer that we are adding, emotional intelligence layer. So, let's go deeper here, because safety is not just physical, it is emotional. Children absorb everything: the tone, the energy, unspoken tension, your frustrations, the situation you are in, the fear you might be in. It's a lot that is going on with you as a parent, and obviously your children are absorbing that energy. They are looking and observing everything, and this is where it gets difficult. How do parents keep their child calm when they themselves are not calm? Janet, over to you.
It's a hard one, right? Especially right now. I mean, I think when it's a normal day, saying that to a parent, okay, we can all manage it. I can manage my own emotions and I can manage my child's emotions. I can balance both. I can be the adult. But when this is happening, I'm not sure. It's hectic. There's so much information that we are getting, and it's just being thrown at us. And every day it's sirens. There's lack of sleep. It's hectic. And I think a little bit of us, we just actually have to acknowledge that this is ridiculous. This is too much, and this is hard. That some days are going to be just horrific, and other days maybe okay.
Yeah.
But this is not normal. I think actually that's your first step, is to
Acknowledge.
say it.
Yeah.
Acknowledge it's not normal. This is not normal life, and it will pass and it will get better. But this is not our normal.
True.
The next thing would be two sides, right? You need to have that balance. You can't go all in for whatever you are feeling, your child feeling. You can't go for, I'm hiding absolutely everything from my child and pretending that nothing's going on. You've got to have that balance. You've got to be in between, knowing when to speak about your own feelings and showing your own fear and saying, my heart is racing, or I've got butterflies in my tummy, or my hands are sweating, and I feel a little worried, I feel a little scared. I'm going to breathe, and working that through, and breathing with your child, doing box breath with your child together. There's a bit of that without panicking your child as well. So it's that balance, which is really, really tricky. You want to speak to them about it, but you don't want to cause panic or fear. And when you are talking about it, you are also showing them the solution. Well, I'm feeling anxious, so I'm going to do breathing. I feel better now. Maybe we'll do that again later. And having those little conversations, almost talking to yourself aloud. Maybe your child acknowledges, and maybe they do exactly what you're doing, maybe they don't, but you are initiating and you are role modeling what you are doing. I think that is a way to deal with it. But I would definitely say, don't panic and show them that panic. Keep the people around them calm as well, so that panic doesn't rub off on them. And also don't hide it. Don't say the sirens are nothing. Ignore it. They need to know this is what we do when the sirens go off. This is the expectation. The social story is the best thing in the world.
Oh, I love that.
And they need to have very clear social stories that tell them what's happening and what they need to do. It's the same as having a visual schedule or a routine. It's giving them, this is what's happening, this is how you feel, this is how you respond, and you get them to maybe do it with you. They help you create that social story, and you read it again and again and again, and you put it into place in practice.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jeanette. And that matters. Let's stay there for a second, because no one says this enough. Parents need support too. We're saying it, Janet is saying it. Please, parents, you need to acknowledge it yourself that you do need support. A regulated parent creates a regulated child. There is no doubt about it. So, here is something simple but powerful. Pause before reacting. Sit next to your child, not above them, like position yourself next to your child. Use fewer words, more presence. Connection before correction. That's very important, especially in this kind of situation. Janet, I have another question for you, and let me tell you that there is a question from our audience as well. So I'll bring that question later. But let me bring this question for you from the podcast itself. What does that look like in real life for parents? Connection before correction. How would we be able to visualize it? What parents can do to establish the connection before they correct their child?
I think traditionally we've always felt like we have to be the one in control, and and we have to be the one who reacts immediately, responds immediately, corrects the child. Maybe we take a step back and we question what's going on here before you correct. Again, it could be something in the body. It could be a message your child is telling you, something that they can't verbally say or they can't articulate, but there is a message there. So I think connection before correction, it's, again, like you said, like I said, you get down to the child at their level and you really listen to them. You really watch, not what the books have said about behavior, but your child, what's going on with them. What do they like? What are their strengths? What is the best thing about them? When are they happy? When are they just showing you what they've got? That you work on. Not about just correcting them all the time.
Correct.
And fixing. Where are they happy? Where are they shining? I think too often we are trying to do too much for our children. They can fall into that trap of learned helplessness where a grandmother, a caregiver, a nanny is just doing absolutely everything for them, correcting them, holding their hand, hand over hand with writing. But there's no development. There's nothing. So I think, that connection before correction, it's not just about behavior and discipline. It's about connecting with your child so that you really know and understand them, so that you can develop their strengths.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeanette, for taking the parents through these basic, agreements that they can follow at home. This is very, very important, obviously. And thank you all the audience members of my community. Beyond the Box community is growing, alhamdulillah. We have grown from 4 members to, mashallah, 1,000 now, and that feels like a big achievement today. So thank you so much for trusting us and coming back to our Unboxed with SG podcast to learn things. We do it for free, and you know that very well. We don't charge you anything for bringing this wisdom to you. And these experts who are sitting with me every week, sometimes I do take a break, but every time when I bring an expert, those are the purest souls that I can find, to be honest, because they do it for free as well. So you got to remember that people who are coming and connecting with you through Unboxed with SG are the ones who are doing it for no personal gain. So thank you, Jeanette. I really, really appreciate that you are here. Let me take you through the questions that have been posted by the audience. And I have already highlighted with one question because I didn't want to forget it. So I just pinned it on the screen. And the question is from RJ. She is saying, what tips can teachers use to keep their learners safe, calm, and supported inside the school? I mean, we talked about home, but she's saying when they're back in the time of crisis to the school, how can the teachers keep them safe and calm? Good question.
Very good question. I think we're busy preparing at the moment for our students to come back on Sunday, and we are making social stories. We are making songs out of those social stories, how to line up, how to follow the safety procedures, how to breathe, how to follow the teachers. But again, it's exactly the same as in the home. You've got to be the role model. You've got to have that acknowledgement of how you're feeling and what you're doing to calm yourself down, and you're role modeling that for your students. But there needs to be that fuzzy-wuzzy side, the emotional side, and understanding, and then you need your rules, you need your boundaries. This is what happens, and this is how we're doing it, and you do that through a social story. Think also make sure that you have the right accommodations in the class. Do the children who react to sirens, do they have their earphones? Are they allowed their ear defenders? Push for that. Allow parents to bring ear defenders. What other things will make them feel a little bit more settled? so that they don't feel too anxious. It might be a teddy bear from home. It might be something from mum, to keep them feeling settled.
An object of comfort.
Yeah. So both the fuzzy wuzzy side, and then you also want clear expectations for them, and that should be in a social story.
Very good. And social stories, I remind all the educators who might be attending right now, there is a certain way of conducting social stories with the children, but there is a special way of conducting social stories with children with special needs. So if you do want guidance on that, you could look at the Beyond the Box YouTube channel. You may find some social stories posted there as well for your reference, or you can just go on Teachers Pay Teacher. I'm not taking any commission from them, I'm just bringing the resource to you. You will find, if you search, you will find plenty of social stories templates, or social stories implementation, way of social stories implementation. You can certainly look at that. And I know Komal is actually attending our podcast, and last time when I was in touch with Komal, she was talking about social stories as well. So please make sure that you're looking at the right resource, because you do want to use this is a very powerful tool, and you do want to use it correctly. It's not just another story. Social stories are created for the dilemma that you notice, or your children, your students notice around you in your surroundings. That's how it is initiated or originated. So do remember that. Okay, this is not just another story. So look into it. If you don't know, if you're not familiar with that, then look into it. You'll find plenty of help on internet available. Jeanette, anything else that you want to say? And I want to repeat again here to acknowledge your presence for this podcast. And I know we just came here for about, um, you know, 40 minutes, because that's what we wanted to do. We didn't want to make it very tedious, very lengthy for our viewers, because we know people are struggling right now and they have a lot of things to take care of. So we don't want them to be trapped in this podcast for a very long time. So usually I run it for 1 hour, but today we are keeping it only for 40-45 minutes. That's what we are doing. But if you do have another question, we are still here for another 5 minutes. Please do let us know while we go back and ask Janet if she has anything on her mind that she thought I didn't ask and she still wants to share it with the parents. Please, the floor is yours, Janet.
I think what I would like to say is that, yeah, we're all going through unusual times, and it's hectic. I think it's going to be easy to fall into some patterns that may seem really easy now and helpful. Screen time, maybe sending your child off to someone else. It might be easier right now, but your child does need you. You need to be okay, you need to be calm, and you need to be looked after, but your child needs you more than ever. Our children have been through COVID, and they're going through this. We already saw behavior and academic challenges because of that. So there's going to be an impact. We can't ignore it. Your child needs you. They do not need screen time. We need to monitor that. We must be careful how much screen time our schools are giving our children, and how much screen time they're having at home as well. It needs to be purposeful, but it cannot be just to occupy a child. In the meantime, in the short term, I'm sure it settles something if a child is having a meltdown, or if something's going on and you need it, it's very easy. But the long-term impact is seriously scary. And we are creating addicts amongst our children.
Correct.
And it's educators who are doing it. And it's something that needs to be seriously fixed. So yes, please take care of yourselves so that you can take care of your children, and make sure that your children are getting what they deserve. Let's be our champions for each of our children, our learners who deserve a champion.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Janet, for coming on Unbox with SG and unboxing this concept of how parents can support their children with special needs at home. This was needed not just for guidance, but for reassurance as well. Because what parents are doing right now, even if it feels messy, even if if it feels uncertain, it matters. To every parent watching, you are not expected to be perfect. Please note that. You are expected to be present for your child, which you are. Your child does not need a perfect system right now. Your child needs you. And that's why when Janet said that you first need to acknowledge your own emotions right now, that is very important because you cannot be available or present for your child in this time of need if you're not acknowledging your own emotions. So that's very, very important. And please do that. Be safe, be calm, be available, and that would be enough. So, thank you so much for being here with us. And to everyone watching, this is not about doing more, this is about doing what matters. This is Unboxed with SG, and we will continue to have the conversation that actually supports you. And before you go, drop one word in the comments describing how are you feeling right now? Are you all right? Are you okay? How are you doing? I'll be reading every single word, and I believe Janet will be reading every single word. And if you couldn't come up with a question right now because you were listening to us, you can always drop a question later on. And if I read it and if Janet reads it, I'm sure we will be answering your question in order to support you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Janet.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everyone.